Good morning, everyone. Lots going on as usual. Today is Tuesday, October 14th, 2025. I had to fix my posture, so I had to move my laptop from where it was to where it is. So now we have a whole lot of, or I'm trying to fix my posture. It's very difficult. So we have a lot more. I think you can see me more. So you're going to see me talking with my hands a lot more, which I do a lot. And so that's interesting. I don't mind this camera setup. Let me know what you think. Anyway, banning property taxes. Multiple states are looking at banning property taxes, and I think that that's a good idea. I think that you pay taxes. We pay taxes on money we pay taxes on anyway. They take taxes right off of our income, and then you pay taxes on things that you purchase. You pay taxes on houses yearly. It's like taking a COVID booster every year. What are you doing? You pay taxes once on something, right? You're not buying the house every year. Why are we paying taxes every year? So also, when you stop earning money, that $10,000 tax bill or whatever it is now, which is tied to the value of your home, is very difficult. Do you own your land, or are you just renting your land from the tax man, right? And that's a serious question. Where are the politicians in Ontario and Canada who are calling for an end to property taxes, income taxes, and all of these other taxes? Why aren't we going to a tariff model where people who want to access our markets are paying the government for access to the market, and the government's using that income to run itself instead of putting us on the hook for it? It doesn't make much sense. I don't think it makes much sense to run a government like that. If our government worked for us, they would actually work for us, not have a system where they exploit us, right? Peace deal updates. We're going to talk about the peace president, and that's where we're gonna start with today. And it's a lot of very interesting things. And oh, that's interesting. That's a new behavior. I haven't seen that before. Sorry, everybody. I have to fix that. I don't know why that's coming up there. I will have to deal with that right now. There we go. UK and China issues. There are people who are saying if the United Kingdom can't hold China responsible for spying, then do we have a country, and why is this happening and everybody's turning a blind eye to it? The CPC wants to end DEI, and I think that's coming out of nowhere, but not really nowhere, but it is new, and I think that that's interesting. The language that they're using is vastly different than it used to be, and so that's notable as well. And lots to get to. Let's get to it. First, we have to start with Trump and the fallout from peace. And Liberty Girl says, thanks to this man, not you at all, take your elbows and go home. And she's talking to Mark Carney, and he says, I'm in Sharm el-Sheikh, Egypt for this historic peace summit. And yeah, the peace president is what the White House is branding this. And yeah, I mean, nobody else has done this despite opportunities. People said Bill Clinton was a peacemaker. People said Barack Obama was a peacemaker, right? Not George W. Bush. They didn't say that about Bush. But now people were trying to sell us the idea that Trump was going to be this warmonger, this war hawk, this guy who's going to start World War III. And instead, Trump comes in and negotiates peace in the Middle East, which is something that nobody in modern history has been able to do. Wild, absolutely wild. And people dislike him for it. They really, really hate that he's the one to have done this. A lot of people are pointing out, do you think the pro-Palestinian protests will celebrate Trump and his ability to bring peace to the Middle East? Do you think these pro-Palestinian protests will stop now that there is peace in the Middle East? I'm not confident. I'm not confident. Here is Donald Trump, and he's addressing the Knesset yesterday. We had footage of him. I didn't actually see any of his speech yesterday when I did my show, but now it is, now that I was able to watch some of it, so here's some of it for you.
The God who once dwelled among his people in this city still calls us, in the words of Scripture, the turn from evil and do good, to seek peace and pursue it. So he still whispers truth into the hills and knolls and valleys of his magnificent creation, and he still writes hope into the hearts of his children all over the world. The God who once dwelled among his people.
So there you go. Trump is speaking of God, and I think that that's interesting. Here's Trump again. He says this isn't just the end of the war, it's the end of an age of terror and death.
This is not only the end of a war, this is the end of an age of terror and death, and the beginning of the age of faith and hope and of God. It's the start of a grand concord and lasting harmony for Israel and all the nations of what will soon be a truly magnificent region. I believe that so strongly. This is the historic dawn of a new Middle East. This is not
new Middle East. And you know what I think this is about? Trump has negotiated peace between Iran and Israel, and immediately after, people said this will never hold. The peace has already been broken. Both sides have violated the peace deal. Israel violated the peace deal, and here we are a while later, and there hasn't been a resurgence. But what I think this does, what Trump is doing, going around and solving all of these world problems, these long-standing conflicts, it removes leverage from the globalists. As I said yesterday, sometimes you come in and you think you're solving one problem, right? And instead of getting that one problem to deal with, you get, I'm trying to get this in the middle of the camera. Instead of that one problem you get to deal with, you get 10 others, right? And the 10 others are ones that you're not equipped to deal with. You're there to drain the swamp. You're not there to deal with economic uncertainty. You're not there to deal with foreign conflicts that spill over into your streets. You're not there to deal with all of these rail blockades, all of these other things. You don't know how to deal with it. And so when somebody else comes in and says, don't worry, we'll sort this out for you. All you have to do is do exactly as we say. And you say, okay, the only solution to this is more migrants and raise taxes. And they say, yep. And then you do that. And then the violence stops and you go, okay. What he's doing, what Trump is doing through solving all of these problems and making it so that he's seen as the peacemaker, using the United States apparatus of the state to bring peace to the world, right? Using the foreign might of the United States economy to bring these people in line, trade and other levers that they've got, including military levers. Trump's not afraid of using them, and he's widely been seen as crazy enough to do it, right? And so what he's doing is he's removing the globalists' ability to throw 10 problems at him, 10 wars, 10 whatever. He's saying, what's the hot spot now? Let's go fix it right now. Let's fix it with trade, fix it with U.S. assurance and backup, and fix it with all these, that scene at the end of, not The Hunt for Red October. It's the Nessun Dorma scene where they're, I can't remember the name of the movie, but I'll get there in just a minute. But that's what he's doing. He's signing these peace deals to remove the bullets in their chamber. They can't use them if peace has already been made. And he's going to do other things that the globalists aren't going to like, and they're not going to be able to derail him with these wars. That's what I think he's doing with us. Okay. So, and also enshrining his legacy, et cetera, et cetera. This is Trump making all of the people who did not help him with this peace deal sit there and watch him, to big fanfare, sign the peace deal. Okay, so Trump's sitting there with Egypt and Turkey, Erdogan, and I can't remember the other guy. And Keir Starmer is hidden by this. I think this lady's standing in front of where Keir Starmer's sitting, and Mark Carney's sitting here in the background, right? All of these people are forced to sit there in the second row and watch Trump be the superstar that they're trying to pretend to be. Because Macron was saying he was going to bring peace. Carney was saying, we're going to recognize Palestine and bring peace to the Middle East. That's how this works. We're going to do this in little jumps and things like that. Trump didn't do any of that. And this is a point that's going to be made in just a minute by other people through tweets. But Trump did this unconventionally, without the United Nations, without Canada, without anybody really helping him. Just Trump and his team, they did this. They put this together because they weren't listening to the globalist United Nations a-holes who are all being forced to sit there and celebrate Trump's achievement. If this was Obama's achievement, this would be a crowning achievement of his presidency. Okay, this would be celebrated worldwide. World peace, holy smoke, peace in the Middle East. Didn't think this would happen in our lifetimes. Oh my gosh, right? But it's Trump, so they hate him. So it's super interesting. He is making them watch. That's what I think is happening here. So we won't watch all of this, but here we go. It's the signing.
This took 3,000 years to get to this point. Can you believe it? And it's going to hold up, too. It's going to hold up. Okay, thank you. I can use my pen. Have a pen? Can you use mine? Okay.
So there you go. They're all signing. Is it Patriot Games? I think it's Patriot Games. I'm Googling it here, but I can't, it's not confirmed. Patriot Games, where the two leaders are signing peace and then everybody else is getting their comeuppance. People are getting murdered for the role they played or assassinated, whatever you want to call it, politically held accountable. Is that the only way people are held politically accountable these days? Maybe. Here's Donald Trump, and he's saying to all the world leaders who came with no notice whatsoever, I like some of you guys, but some of you I don't like at all. Maybe you'll know who that is. Here we go.
I've known so many of you for so long. You're friends of mine. You're great people. I have a couple I don't like in particular, but I won't tell you who. I have actually a few of them I don't like at all. But you'll never find out who they are. Well, maybe you will, come to think of it. But I have most of you who I like a lot, and I respect a lot. Maybe that's more important. We listen.
I think it's funny. It reminds me of that Kanye West one where he says, I can't tell you the name of or the race of the doctors that I'm talking about, and then proceeds right away, right after that, to tell you the name or race of the doctor that he's talking about. So you'll never know, but maybe you'll find out. Here is Donald Trump on a hot mic, and Prime Minister Carney says, "I'm glad you upgraded me to a president." And Trump retorts, "At least I didn't say governor." So I don't know if you can actually hear it very well, but that's the exchange here. Right? At least I didn't say governor. Get out of here, Carney. And then here's Trump looking for England. England's right behind him. Keir Starmer's right behind him. Starmer comes up to the mic thinking that he's going to get to say something. And then Trump just turns his back on Starmer. And the people watching are killing themselves. I think it's funny.
United Kingdom. Where's the United Kingdom? Where's the from? Is everything going good? It's very nice of you here. These people all came in like 20-minute notice. And I think it's fantastic.
You good? Yeah, it's nice to hear. Okay, everybody. These people came here, no notice at all. And then here is Trump wrestling. And I don't know if this means Trump doesn't like these people. I just think it's funny as heck. Here's Trump and Macron wrestling for handshake supremacy. It's just funny. It's just funny. I thought it was funny. 35 seconds felt like a lot longer, right? Macron standing there holding hands. Here's everybody and their dog. This is a minute of sped up Trump glad-handing all the world leaders. Everybody's coming in. Trump doesn't wrestle with anybody else, right? Macron takes 5 minutes to get off. That 35 seconds. It's a little longer than everybody else. And there's all sorts of interesting things happening. Carney just went before Starmer, or no, after Starmer, excuse me. So yeah, it's just interesting. Everybody wants that glow, right? Everybody wants that glow. Peacemaker glow. Let me get a picture with that guy, right? Monica says, "This is a masterpiece." Here's, this is not the one. There's a picture of Trump in Time magazine. Is this the one? That doesn't look like Trump. Yeah, maybe it is the one. Here is Donald Trump complaining about the Time cover that he got. He says, "Time magazine wrote a relatively good story about me, but the picture that they used may be the worst of all time. They disappeared my hair and then had something floating on top of my head that looked like a floating crown, but an extremely small one. Really weird. I never liked taking pictures from underneath angles, but this is a super bad picture and deserves to be called out. What are they doing and why?" Indeed, a crown? A crown? Is that the crown that he's talking about right there? Maybe? I don't know. Madness. So is Time magazine trying to sandbag the peacemaking president, right? And here is Trump calling out a dual citizen, saying, who do you love more, the United States or Israel? She refused to answer him. He says that maybe means she loves Israel more. So that's interesting, right?
Miriam, stand up, please. She really is. I mean, she loves this country. She loves this country. Her and her husband are so incredible. We miss him so dearly. But I actually asked her, I'm going to get her in trouble with this, but I actually asked her once, I said, so Miriam, I know you love Israel. What do you love more, the United States or Israel? She refused to answer. That might mean Israel, I must say.
Right? Some people criticize Trump for the same thing. And all U.S. presidents, everybody's going to that wall. Everybody's putting their hand on that wall. What's up with that? Chief Nerd is sharing this Bill Maher thing, and these guys are grudgingly eating crow. They're like, listen, Trump did this. He deserves the credit. He deserves the credit that he gets. Here we go.
I always say this. You cannot ever deny success. You just have to give your respect, even if it's not your thing. Don't have the humility to give it up for enormous success on any level.
I agree.
Trump, not my choice, didn't vote for him, but somehow,
a lot of people did.
And he's, I can't deny the success.
I can't either.
Yeah.
There you go. Don't they look so happy? Peace in the Middle East, guys. Oh, man, I can't deny his success. I know we can't. Like, they won't accept it. If we deny his success, we'll look illegitimate. So I guess we just have to party with everybody. Don't they look happy, right? J.D. Vance is responding to Elizabeth Warren. I thought this was funny. Elizabeth Warren is upset. Famously called Pocahontas by Donald Trump because she claimed Indian heritage where she didn't have any Indian heritage. Elizabeth Warren is responding to the news of Hamas releasing all 20 living hostages. She says, for 2 excruciating years, I've called for the return of the hostages brutally kidnapped on October 7th and held in Gaza. Today is a good day. Surviving Israeli hostages are finally home and reunited with loved ones. I'm thinking of them and their families on this joyful day, blah, 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 blah. And J.D. Vance, yesterday is Columbus Day it was Thanksgiving Day in Canada, but Columbus Day in the United States. And J.D. Vance says, the president told me he did this on Indigenous Peoples Day in honor of you. And I just thought that was funny. Like, the whole peace thing was on Columbus Day for Elizabeth Warren. Again, I thought it was funny. Trolling, master level trolling. Tokyo Rosie says Mark Carney recognized terrorist-run Palestine as a state, and Hamas did nothing to release the Jewish hostages. Donald Trump did not recognize Palestine as a state and told Hamas, release the hostages or he would lay waste to what's left of Gaza. Advantage Trump. I thought he was going to build a golf course, right? I heard it was Mara Gaza, and that's what was going on. Here is Ryan. He says this was on September 23rd, and Anita Anand was making the case that the work we're doing to ensure that there's peace in the Middle East is step by step. And one of those steps is to recognize the state of Palestine. Trump skipped that step, and he made them do what he wanted. So much for the step-by-step approach, says Ryan. Trump got a deal done without the United Nations marching orders. Our government is brutal. And Ryan says, Carney, Starmer, and Macron can't make decisions. They must get their direction from the United Nations. This is why they are lockstep in everything. This is why Canada will never truly be a sovereign nation. Yeah, that ship sailed 20 years ago, I think. Maybe more. Chris is responding to Mark Carney. Mark Carney says, my statement on the release of the hostages under the ceasefire agreement in Gaza, he doesn't give credit to Trump here. He says the release of the hostages is a moment of profound relief. After 2 years of suffering, today families are finally reunited. For the Jewish people, this is a moment that holds 2 truths at once, a grief for what cannot be restored and a fragile light of what might still be repaired. And Chris says, I bet someone was really proud of coming up with a grief of what cannot be restored and a fragile light of what might still be repaired, whatever the blue hell that's supposed to mean. So it's nonsense. It's clearly, it would be like me paying somebody to write my show and then can you imagine me trying to clumsily read a script? It would be terrible. It'd be me like trying to read last names in a list. It would be awful. Russian news is reporting apparently Meloni has bad breath. Right? Erdogan, Russia news. So take it with a grain of salt. It's Russians. My gosh. Erdogan embarrasses Italian Prime Minister Meloni. He says, you look wonderful, but I have to make you quit smoking. After his comment, Meloni kept her hand over her mouth throughout the meeting with the world leaders. And she's... Stop smoking.
I know. I don't want to kill somebody. Yeah.
The best part of the clip is kind of a visual joke at the end where she is covering her mouth with her hand while talking with the other world leaders. Here is Kim, and she is responding to this. And again, the goal is peace. Okay. Tankertrackers.com says, breaking, for reasons still unknown, most Iranian flag tankers are now transmitting properly over AIS without spoofing for the first time in 7.5 years. This change began today. Please note that 2 different AIS data providers confirm this. So Iranian tankers are now transmitting. So that's, Kim says, this would suggest normalization of Iranian oil flows. Weird. There is a Dancing with the Stars in where is in some Danish country, I think, and they do a Donald and Melania dance. So, I mean, we're being inundated now, right? Like this is more than, this is not the usual thing. This is not George W. Bush dancing with the people on this. Remember when George Bush was dancing? This is totally different. Anyway, here's a little bit of this Dancing with the Stars number. It's not quite the Trump dance, but it's almost there. It's almost there. It's very close. 22 minutes in, eh? Oh, man, I was hoping we were going to get to some of the grab bag of governance and things like that I've got here. We'll do a little bit more, and then we've got to cut the feed or cut the stream. And I've been in touch with the WP Stream people. I think I understand how to do it. I'm going to try and get things worked out tomorrow or the next day. Hopefully this week we'll have the proper live stream for paying customers ready and rolling, and that'll be good. I'm looking forward to that. Andrew says, just in, Florida, Illinois, Pennsylvania, Ohio, and Kansas are the first 5 states planning to try banning property taxes, as per Realtor.com. That would be great. I think that's a good idea. Gold. Canada doesn't have any gold. We sold all our gold in 2016. Harper was selling the gold, and then Trudeau sold the last of it. Can you imagine how many, if we had like 2 tons of gold and we had at $1,000 an ounce, it's X amount. At $5,000 an ounce, it's 5 times the amount that it was. Why did we get rid of our gold reserves? I think that every gold mine in Canada should be paying a percentage of their, like all of their whatever fees and things like that have to be paid in gold, and it goes straight into our gold treasury. Apparently in China holds 2.264 tons of gold, worth $165 billion. It's buried deep in Beijing and Shanghai vaults, and they're buying more every month. Their goal, ditch the dollar. Gold isn't just wealth, it's leverage. More money gives you more options, right? If you're like, oh man, we're so in debt, we can't do anything, we're eating macaroni again for dinner. More money, you can eat whatever you want, right? Like there's all sorts of different options you can do. We've got a little bit more time. I'm going to kill it right after this. Maxime Bernier wishes people a happy Thanksgiving. And he says, there are many reasons to despair about the state of our country and our planet, but let's be thankful and enjoy the many pleasures that life brings us while